So I was asked on the Ravelry forums to talk a little bit about combined knitting and how it differs from regular Western style knitting when working cables, specifically this cable pattern, which is a traveling cable. Traveling cables don't just cross legs with themselves, but they cross over the background. Usually a reverse stockinette background so that they're really visible, although not always. So combined knitters and cabling, it's not really that different from a non-combined knitter. Now, as a combined knitter, I deal with stitches that sit on the needle in two different orientations. Western oriented, with the right leg in front of the needle, and Eastern oriented, with the left leg in front of the needle. Okay, this has to do with how they were worked on the previous row. So in this case, if they're worked so that they're Western oriented, when you flip them over, they're still going to be Western oriented. That doesn't change. All right. So what's the big deal about cabling? Well, cabling is working stitches out of sequence. You're taking however many of stitches here and switching places with however many stitches here. To start with, I've got my edging already, my I-cord edging, which I'm not going to get into. I need to purl 3, do the first cable crossing, purl 3 more, do the next cable crossing, purl 3, and then do the edging. Okay, I'm going to just go ahead and do that. Don't really like using these, but I'll show you once, and then I'm going to move to these. Okay, so purl 3, 1, 2, 3 Eastern oriented stitches. I still have one purl stitch left. So I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna scoop up that stitch. It honestly doesn't matter if you slip it knitwise or purlwise, because you can adjust that when you get to it later. But anyway, just leave that to the back. And then you see I've gotten to my knitwise, my knit stitches, and they're all Eastern oriented. I'm just going to go ahead and knit those 2 stitches. And that purl stitch is still hanging around in the back. I need to purl that stitch. Now, to determine your orientation, I had slipped this purlwise, which I'm pulling it really long. I had slipped it purlwise, which means it was sitting Western oriented. So if I hold it here and I purl it, yarn in front, I'm going to go through this leg, the front leg, because it was sitting on the needle with the front leg as the leading leg, and I'm going to purl it. Okay, and then I'm going to drop the cable needle because I don't need it anymore, and then I'm going to purl 3 more stitches because that's what the chart wants me to do. And there is my cable moving over 1 stitch to the right. Now I have the next cable. Again, this cable leg wants to move 1 stitch to the right. I have 1 purl stitch here that needs to move. In this case, because I find it less fiddly and fiddly matters when you're taking video, I'm going to put it on a split stitch marker. Okay, I'll put it in back. I'm going to knit these 2 through the front of the leg. I'm going to find my stitch and I'm going to put it back on my left hand needle. In this case, I've put it on my left hand needle Western oriented. Again, leading leg is to the right, and leading leg is front of the needle, trailing leg is behind the needle, so I work through the leading leg, purling it like so. And now I have to purl 3 more and slip my 3 edge stitches, which you don't have to worry about. These are purls on the right side, on the front side, so they're going to be knits on the reverse. So it's going to be knit 4, purl 2, knit 4, purl 2, knit 3. And I'm going to go ahead and do that and then come back and show you the next. Okay. Now, these two knits on the right side, on the front side, this is a 2 over 2. You cross 2 purl stitches behind 2 knit stitches. So it's a cable back. Cable back? Cable back, yes. So I'm going to go ahead and purl 3, knit 2. It's no different than I would normally purl and knit because, you know, you purl your purls, you knit your knits. Purl 2, and then I have come onto these 2 purls which I need to move behind these 2 knits. And again, purls were knit on the other side, so right now they're western oriented. These knits were purled on the other side, so they're western, excuse me, eastern oriented. Oh, my handy dandy split stitch marker. Whatever you need to put them on to hold them to the back. Okay. Knit 2 through the front leg and slip them back onto your needle and purl them through the front leg. Again, it doesn't matter how you slip them. If you slip them knitwise or if you slip them purlwise, it doesn't matter. Just always work them through the leading leg like you normally would knit or purl to get an uncrossed stitch. Okay, if that makes sense. And then we have this staying in the same position. It's just straight up. And this one has moved over too. And now I'm gonna I'm gonna work my way back and get to this one and do it again. Okay, so I need to purl 3, knit 2, cable 2 forward, or cable 4, anyway, cable 4 forward, and then purl the rest of the row. So that is purl 1, 2, 3 through the front leg, knit 2, and then these 2 are the ones I'm holding in back. Again, I'm holding them in back, yarn in front, like so. Knit these 2, and then purl these off of the needle that I've just put them back onto through the leading leg, and then purl my way to the end of the row, and then the edge stitches. I-cord edging, you gotta slip them every other row. Okay, so okay, here we go. 3 purl, and then hold 2 in back, knit 2, knit the 2 off the back, and then purl to the end. So, purl 3, 3, slip them off, hold them in back, knit 2, slip them back on. Now, if you notice, prior to this I had been slipping purl stitches that were presenting western oriented. I've been slipping them purlwise, preserving the western orientation. I slipped these knitwise because I slip them at the same time, and then I put them back onto the needle at the same time. And these are all Eastern oriented. So, since I don't want them to twist at the base, I don't want the legs to cross, I'm going to work them through the back leg, which is still the leading leg. Alright? Okay, that's the difference. That's the only difference, and that's true with combined knitting regardless of whether you're cabling or not. You always work through the leading leg, no matter where it is, if you don't want the legs to twist, to cross. And then I purl to the end. And I'm going to speed this up again. Okay, now this is where we've crossed the two legs of the cable, and then they're going to split out again, and then they're going to re-meet up here, and then they're going to split out again. So it's kind of a double helix without the whole DNA cable aspect of it. So it's purl 3, knit 2, then cable these in front. And in this case, we're holding these stitches in front of the work, not in back. Okay, purl 3, 1, 2, 3, knit 2, that's the leg that's going to keep going straight up for a bit. Now these 2 knit stitches, I'm putting them on my holder and I'm holding them to the front, like so. And then I'm going to purl 2 stitches. Okay, and then I'm going to put these back on my needle. And I'm preserving my orientation just because it's easier to slip them together than to slip them one at a time. It's faster. And I'm going to knit them through the front leg, like so. And now I have 2 purl stitches in between my 2 pairs of knits. And then I'm going to purl to the end. Okay, so these are all held in front, just as these had all been held in back. Purl 3, 1, 2, 3, knit 2, still going straight up, purl 2, and then these 2 knits are moving 2 stitches to the left, so I hold it in front. Purl, purl, again, these happen to be Eastern oriented. Isn't that interesting? I'm working Western knits, so it's a Western knit now, even though they're Eastern knits sitting on the needle. All right, that's what a combined knitter deals with. And then I purl to the end. Okay, and again, holding them in front, purling off the back. Purl 3, 1, 2, 3. I feel like I should do this on this just to show people. Okay. hold 2 in front, purl 1, and then see how these are oriented eastern still? And then knit them off. And get the needle out of the way. 1, 2, 3, and then do it again. These two have to move 1 stitch to the left. Short leg. Okay, because I'm slipping these this way at the same time. Purl 1. And then again, these are oriented eastern, so I go through this way, through the leading leg, this way through the other leading leg, drop that, purl to the end. In this case, purl 4. It's 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I want to cross these 2 knit stitches with these 2 purl stitches. So I'm going to slip them and keep them in front. Purl 2. Put them back on. Yeah, I know, my method preserves stitch orientation. Makes it very mindless for me. Knit 2. But it doesn't matter how you move the stitches as long as you do move the stitches. Okay. Okay, purl 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is row 19. 2, slip 2, hold them in front, purl 2. Knit the 2 stitches. And knit the next 2 stitches, purl to the end, and do the border. Alright, purl all the way to here, cross them in front, and now I've gone back, in this case, to holding the stitches in back and crossing the following stitches in front. Because this eventually comes back up into this. So I've gotten to my 4 knit stitches, put my 2 initial stitches on the holder, and I put it to the back again. Knit 2, and then I knit the 2 that I've taken out of sequence. And then I purl to the end and do my border. Okay, and we're here again. do the border. Purl 6. And now we have these 2 purls that have to be held to the back, and then 2 stitches knit, and then grab those 2 purls back. And again, because I slipped them at the same time, they're going to be sitting western, and I'm going to purl them through the front leg, which happens to be the leading leg. And then I get to these 2 knit stitches, which I knit through the back leg, which is again the leading leg, and then I work to the end purlwise. Now there's one more row, and then there's one more row, and then we come back to here. I'm going to do this one, and we'll have done a full repeat. Now, come back down here. Purl 4, put 2 purls to the back, bringing two knits to the front. Okay? So, 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 2 purls before I get to the cable, the knit columns. I put the purls in the back. I knit these 2. I bring these purls back and purl them. And then I purl my way to the next column of knits. I knit those, and then I purl my way to the end and do the work, which in this case involves slipping them. And that is one full repeat. Well, technically I have to work my way back for it to be a full repeat from where I showed you. But the pattern started on a row 2, and I've just worked my way through row 1 again. So that is a full repeat. Here, I'll do it. Okay, it's easier to see. The cables settle better if they've been okay. And this will line up with this as you keep going to create these lozenges that go this way and then this way and then this way and then this way up. Okay.